Good morning, friends. Today we're going to be working on taking our 5 elements of a story anchor chart that we put in our English language arts spiral and making it complete and looking like this with some additional notes. You should have your 5 different colors, any markers, highlighters, crayons, or colored pencils, and something to write with. Let's get started. So, in children's literature, or in most literature, in every story that you read, there are 5 elements: plot, character, setting, theme, and conflict. And today, we're going to talk about what each one of those means and how it can help you better understand the book that you're reading. The first one that we're starting with is our plot. So we're going to go through here and we're going to highlight plot. Now, if you were in my class last year, we did a lot of anchor charts and work inside all of our spirals, and I'm sure that Miss Roaches did as well last year. So plot is the what that happens in the story. It's the sequence of events in the story. So over here, we've got our sequence. There's always a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, I'm going to underline the word sequence. If you were in my class, I would ask you what sequence means. But since I don't have anybody in here with me, I'm going to answer that for you. And we're going to draw a little arrow. And we're going to write the definition of sequence. The sequence is just a fancy word that means order. So the plot is the what that happens in the story, or it's the order of events in a story. So underneath order, I'm going to just write a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3. Now, that doesn't mean that there's only going to be 3 things inside our story, but this is just going to help us remember that sequence means order of events. Our next element of stories is characters. Now, our characters are who the story is about. The people in the story that carry out the actions. Now, we know that sometimes characters are not only people. Sometimes characters can be animals that are able to talk. They can be made up, aliens, or anything. So the characters are who the story is about. And under where it says people, we are going to also write in parentheses animals or things. Because sometimes we know that things inside of a fiction story can carry out the actions of that story. Setting is our next element of the story. Setting is the where and when a story takes place. The where and when the story takes place. So over here we've got ourselves a little map, and I would say that the setting of this would be possibly in the mountains. And it's saying that it's sunny, so it would be in the morning. Now, this is just an example. We can also talk about settings in some fiction books, or we could think about our setting in our Black Beauty book. Our setting in our Black Beauty book would be the farm area that Black Beauty is being raised in and the areas that Black Beauty travels to. Our theme is our next element of the story. Now, theme is a little bit more difficult to understand, and that's okay because we're going to go into theme next week and talk even more about it. This is just kind of an introduction. Theme is the main idea of the story. It's the message or lesson the author wants you to learn. So we've got our little example over here, and it's a guy kind of holding up his hands as he's won. He almost looks like a Roman gladiator. And it says, good triumphs over evil. So theme That's a really great theme, good triumphs over evil. And I'm sure that if we were in class together, you would be able to give me some examples of stories where the theme would be good triumphs over evil. Our last concept that we're going to talk about today, or our story element, is conflict. Conflict is the struggle in the plot, the problem the characters deal with, or obstacles they overcome. We're going to go ahead and highlight conflict so we can remember that conflict is the struggle of your plot, and it's the problems that the characters deal with or obstacles they overcome. Now there's a few different kind of conflicts. Our first type of conflict is called internal conflict. Now we know that the word internal means inside. So internal conflict is the character struggles on the inside with emotions and feelings. So I'm going to underline emotions and feelings. Our next type of conflict could be external conflict. External conflict is that the character struggles with the events of other people, things on the outside. So the character is going to struggle with events or other people, things on the outside. All right. So here's our 5 story elements. Plot is the what that happens in the story. Characters are the who the story is about. Setting is the where and when the story takes place. Theme is our main idea. And conflict is the struggle of the plot. Now we have 2 different kinds of conflicts, internal and external. Thank you, friends, for following along with me and making your anchor chart look like my anchor chart. Let's get ready to move on next to Story Mountain, and we kind of got a little preview of it right here. So I'm thinking that Story Mountain has something to do with plot, beginning, middle, and end. Make sure you have 5 markers or 5 colored pencils and something to write with, and I will see you for the next video.